Hello again, people of Kendopolis, and welcome to another Scribblenauts Unlimited object editor commentary, and this one is kind of a unique one. Although we have done a few Kendo crossovers, this is a new Kendo crossover, and it's gonna basically be for the Super Mario Brothers franchise, mixed with me and my family. Dr.Kendo commentaries here. I hope you guys are ready. So you've seen, especially in the announcement video where I announced that I was having a son, it was when my wife was pregnant and all that. I can't believe in just a few months that'll have been a whole year ago. But anyway, there's the Kendo design basically. So, you know, like there's a little wart that I just took off right there. There's fingernails for the white of the eyes. And the source object was actually a dude. We'll get into that right now because it's interesting. I mean, you could use a man as the source object, but the dude actually has a little bit longer legs. So you can actually see that I do have a man's torso over it. There's a specific man with that t-shirt and pants design right there. And then I used emo for the legs. And so the emo, the whole point of that, like you can see I'm removing the color right now, was actually to make it look like he was wearing shorts instead, like kind of long shorts. And then the red shoes, I liked that the red shoes, well, I painted them red, but they have a toe cap at the end, so it kind of looks like red Converse, which is what I try to give my Kendo design anytime that I am making myself. Back in college, I used to wear red Converse all the time, but anyway, let's see on screen right now. You're gonna see that there's two Kendos being edited, and that's for a good reason. We actually have Mario in the top left, and then a Luigi version in the bottom right, and you're gonna see similarities between them both. So for example, down there in the bottom right, we're using a dagger tooth, the middle body piece of the dagger tooth. That'll be for like the large suspenders, and again, I say large because normally Luigi and Mario, they're wearing their overalls like really high up, and so the straps for the overalls go down to only about the chest or mid-level. Whereas this, you know, I don't ever wear overalls, I don't even wear suspenders, but just to kind of keep it in the Dr. Kendo style, I wanted there to be like there's a t-shirt, and then the design would just have basically suspender straps or whatever, like overalls, sort of. And the arms for both of them are going to be Artie, so Artie is A-R-T-I-E. That's one of Maxwell's mini brothers. Of course, you take the back arm, and we can use that for both of the arms because it has a little white glove. So notice, of course, in the top left, our Mario Kendo version basically is going to have the police hat, so it's going to, you know, be the Mario hat and all that stuff, but I never wear hats in my real life, so I didn't want to make that the only design. Just in case you guys wanted to kind of create your own Kendo crossovers with that, I'm giving you one option where it has the hat, but likely something I would do is in the bottom right corner, you can see a headband on that Luigi Kendo right there, and the headband is going to have the circle with a K in there. We're doing K, it's not like DK. Now that, of course, would be Donkey Kong, but also Dr. Kendo. I just didn't want to confuse since this is kind of about the Super Mario Brothers and crossing over with me and my family. I thought, you know, if I did DK, it might get too Donkey Kong-ish, so I'm just going to do the K for Kendo. But other than that, we used wings on the Mario mustache, or a wing, I guess. We just did it twice. And then we did a black mamba back tailpiece for the Luigi mustache for Luigi Kendo. So that's looking good. I think we should move on, though, to the next character. We're going to see a lot of characters in this episode, like 9 or something like that, and we got baby Kendo right here. So, of course, my son was born on October 12th, for anybody that doesn't know, and he was born at 4:44 p.m. An incredibly epic time to be born at, but yes, we got Pebble as his little shoes right here. Our baby Kendo creation today with this bald cap coming up is actually going to be Toad. So, of course, in the beginning, you saw that there was Dr. Kendo, my avatar, not the Kendo Scribblenauts creation, but like my Scribble avatar. He was Toad or whatever, and so we're going to have actually baby Kendo be the, I guess, main Toad design here that we can edit. So, of course, a circle going kind of in the middle, and then we're going to go with yolk. Of course, that's yolk from an egg, and that'll be for the two sides where the circles would be going around, but we just can't see it in that plane of view that we're looking at right now in Scribblenauts. And so other than that, I've shown briefly how to create baby Kendo, but it's pretty easy. It's just using a baby as the source object with a chicken nugget ear, scorpion tail piece as the nose, snowball head, and most of the other stuff you can probably tell what it is. So we're gonna move on fast-paced here. We got in the top left, we're gonna make Mrs. Kendo, my wife, be Peach up there, but then in the bottom right, we're gonna make her be Daisy. So we want the two princesses that go with the two two Kendos, Super Mario Brothers, basically Kendos, the Super Kendo Brothers, of course. And so for the Daisy design, we're actually, we're gonna go with different arms. You know, normally I just keep on the Emily Halpin arms that are for Mrs. Kendo source object here. That's Emily Halpin, one of the 5th cell members. But anyway, for this one, for Daisy specifically, not for Peach, we want to keep it on for Peach and just paint her arms white. But we want to get rid of everything for the arms for the Daisy and do Tony. Tony's one of Maxwell's brothers as well, but I like this because it has the poofy sleeve or whatever, but then also there's a little white glove. And so Daisy doesn't have the long white gloves that go kind of up the forearm and everything and past that. Daisy just has the little white gloves most of the time. And so their crowns are going to be made basically the same way with a headband and then grass, and grass will be for the main points and everything like that. There are 4 little points or pricks on the crown when you do it this way. That's not entirely accurate to the real Peach or the real Daisy. Of course, if you watch this series, you know that I created Peach in the regular series. The actual Peach, I mean from Super Mario Brothers, not Mrs. Kendo Peach. And you saw that I created her crown. I know what it looks like. But we have license to kind of make things differently in this because these are Kendo crossovers. They're not meant to be the actual characters that they're inspired by. They're just supposed to be a crossover fusion. So for Daisy, we extended the dress down a little bit longer to make that, I guess, orangish color that goes beyond the yellow at the bottom of her dress. That was with a headband. Otherwise, a boutonniere. I think I had text on screen to show you guys how to spell that, but the boutonniere was basically for the little daisy flower white, you know, that was around the earrings and the little pendant there on her chest and in other places. The crown, I guess. But all right, we've also got some furry members of the Kendo family, of course, with my dog Apple. And so Apple is now 6 years old. It's crazy. He's getting old. In dog time, that's pretty old for a big dog. I mean, little dogs often live longer. But I thought, of course, it was actually really easy for me to think about which characters are they going to be. Well, I said Apple should be Yoshi and Tui, my other dog, should be Bowser. We'll see that in a little bit, but it's going to be really funny because Apple is actually our bigger dog. He's like 70 pounds and he is not a designer labradoodle, but some people abandoned him. I don't think they would have abandoned him if he was designer, unfortunately, but it was really sad. It was at the first apartment ever that Mrs. Kendo and I had together back in 2012, and Apple was left on the street by some insensitive jerks. And so if you ever got a dog, you don't need me to tell you, don't abandon it. Just don't do it. But Apple is basically 50% lab, 25% poodle, and then 25% of just various breeds. So like, you know, there's a little bit of Alaskan Kleekai in there, Leonberger, Irish Setter, and I'm talking these are all like 1 to 2%, you know, in there. It's just that last 25% of him is just various breeds in there. So that's what makes him not designer. If he was a designer labradoodle, he'd be exactly 50% lab, 50% poodle. We've had him DNA tested, so we know this stuff. But you can see that we're creating it very largely like my Yoshi creation. You saw also in a very recent episode that we did a Yoshi remake. So I've actually made Yoshi twice in this series from the Super Mario Brothers franchise. But with Apple here, I wanted his fur basically around his muzzle, you know, his flew to basically be white, like, you know how Yoshi has kind of the green up on the top of his head, but then it's like his jaw area is white down below. And so I wanted that to be kind of divided there with Apple as well as Yoshi, but then we just did kind of all the same stamps, like it was a hemisphere for the saddle combined with an octopus tentacle piece. We had mola body pieces for the little spikes on his head and shoe for the shoes. If we had more stamps, I think we could go a little bit more in depth with that, but also we just did some dots and things for the eyes. And so in the scripting tool, I'll set him up sort of like Yoshi, just a little bit. This is like how we created my Yoshi recently in the scripting tool. You know, whenever he gets attacked, he loses or gains health, basically is the script. So then add an adjective, brave, and then we wait a set number of frames. You can set it to whatever you want. And then I just did shoot a projectile after that. So I'm going to make it a small white dinosaur egg. And so that's kind of just one stamp in this game. The dinosaur egg does have little spots on it. And so I thought, you know, hey, we could use that as a projectile that happens every now and then. And so Tui, we're going to start off with a dachshund. Of course, it's spelled, I don't know how many of you guys know how dachshund is spelled. It's kind of spelled strange. It's like dachshund. You can see it up at the top of the screen. But anyway, we got a Chihuahua's head. So Tui is a lot of different things. Tui we got basically 2 years after we had Apple. And fortunately, this time, nobody abandoned Tui like they did with Apple. But Tui was kind of on the list to basically be put down at a shelter, and my wife basically rescued him because he had parvo, and a lot of dogs don't survive parvo. So fortunately, Tui was a fighter, and he survived. And so my wife was in her hometown, and she saw this little dog as she was volunteering at the shelter, just kind of briefly for a small amount of time. Saw this dog. At the time, he was named Forrest, and so we call him Tui Forrest. That's kind of his middle name or whatever. But he's Tui because he's Apple II. So there's like Apple computers, right? And then the Apple II came out. Am I right? Am I right? And then like Little Shop of Horrors, how they call the plant Tui because it's Audrey II. So Apple II is Tui, and we're making him like Bowser. And I think this is hilarious because Tui in real life, you know, he's like 10 to 12 pounds probably. He's a little dog. He's got mostly toy fox terrier in him, but he's also got a little bit of Chihuahua, Chinese crested, Affenpinscher, and some various other dogs. I'm now getting into the 1 to 2% breeds in there. But we have a Beauty's back arm to be for the collar, as well as these little, I guess you could almost call them wristbands, but of course for a dog, you know, it's like it goes over just above his feet. We're gonna have it on the front. It's like he's got those little Bowser spikes. We did this when we created Bowser as well. Bowser, you guys have been asking for a lot of Super Mario things, and so that's why this Kendo crossover episode is kind of an epic little turn of events and kind of a nice thing to do after we've seen all of these Mario creations come about. And so with that, we also made this for our Bowser was the Skyla, or maybe it's Skyla or Sela, that crazy monster. You know, there's a middle piece of it, and that's what we used for his hair. And then Tui has the snow crab right now. We can take it's basically like a shoulder of the snow crab, but the upper part of its arm right near its body. And that can be for the eye. And so the eye color, I should say, like the iris. And we made his eyes red. Of course, you know, a lot of these Kendo crossovers, we don't really change the hair color or the eye color. But I think if you're going to have a Bowser and a dog that's trying to be menacing, I mean, Tui's so small. It's so funny because he is kind of like menacing sometimes in real life. You would think Apple being the larger dog, he would like totally dominate over Tui, but it's not the case at all. Tui always wants to like steal Apple's toys or like steal his treats, or if Apple goes out in the backyard and starts like munching on a stick or something just to have fun, Tui will try to take it away from him. So Tui's like a little rambunctious, crazy, mischievous, just wild dog. I thought he would be totally great for Bowser, and it's just kind of one of those ironic things. You know, Bowser's usually normally so huge, but Tui is like so tiny, and Apple's the big one. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Steel spikes, of course, for the spikes on his back with the hemisphere as kind of that turtle shell, and another octopus tentacle piece for the outer part of the shell. And so here in the scripting tool, we're doing this similar to our Bowser creation, of course, where he loses or gains health, he'll become fearless, but then also he'll wait 129 frames, shoot a projectile, and that projectile is going to be a fireball. And so that'll be kind of like the fire-breathing aspect of Bowser. In some games, he's got it. So we kept it on to Tui. But here we go now. You can see Kendoomba. I don't know if you would ever want to name it that, but a Kendo Goomba, basically. I think this is hilarious. This might be my favorite creation in this episode, I think. I think I'm going to go on record and say that. He's got a fingernail right there for the brow, but basically, you know, he doesn't have any arms. We started out with, you can basically start out with either like a boy or a teen or a man, any of that stuff. You basically just need to remove the head and the arms and the legs, put down mozzarella for the legs. We got this Kraken tentacle piece. It's like just before the end of the tentacle, just before that, for the big eyebrows. These Goombas have big eyebrows, of course, and they're angry. Ovals for the eyes, as well as the inner part of the eyes as well, the iris. And we could just go with P, of course, that's spelled P-E-A, for the little white and the shininess in his eye right there. And of course, Micah is the head, M-I-C-A-H. Micah is the head that we go with for Dr. Kendo. I can't believe I haven't said that yet in this episode. But anyway, for the creation next up, you're going to see a Gila monster, and so that's how it is pronounced. Some people, I think, try to say Gila monster, but it's a Gila monster. And you take the back tail piece of that. It's basically like a venomous lizard, but in this game, we're using its tail piece for the teeth here of the Goomba. I like that they're not completely pointy, but they're also not fully rounded. They're somewhere in between that, and so they make a good teeth shape for the Goombas. And so again, mozzarella, there's how you spell that on screen. That was also what we used for sometimes for like Toad, for his shoes. Well, the same thing with the Goomba. And to get that body piece, we went with a troglodyte back arm. I'll show you in a second, but we've got a drumstick. I like the drumstick because it does have that circle on the very end of it. It's circular shape type thing. It's like a drumstick for music, of course, for drummers. And I like that again because it shows that the mouth can be mostly a straight line, but like Goombas in Mario, in their games, you can see on the 3D models of Goombas and stuff, the detailed models, they do have a little bit of their mouth open where the teeth are positioned. So that's why I did that. And there was the troglodyte troglodyte back arm. So you can see if we take away that mica head, it's basically just like a walking arm like that. So that looks good. And so we need to do some properties editor work on here. Of course, in Scribblenauts Unlimited, the properties editor is where you can edit health. You can also edit the audio of your characters and lots of other things, like if they could be picked up in the hands or do this kind of scripting. And so this is an interesting script that we will demonstrate in just a moment. Basically, when this object loses or gains health, it'll add an adjective fearless, so it won't run away from fights, but it'll also become flat. And so we've got 123 frames, it'll wait after that, and then it will remove the adjective of flat. So we want it to be like the Goomba gets flattened when you hit it. So look at that! That's hilarious. So like right there, the script works. So that's exactly what I wanted to happen. I know that in real Mario games, the Goombas don't become unflattened or whatever. You know, you step on them and then they poof away. You can absolutely do that. You could make that happen in your scripting as well. But I wanted him to come back up because I wanted this to basically be demonstrated multiple times for you guys in this episode. So that's why I scripted it to remove that adjective. So if you want to do it the same way, feel free to. This is all up to you, of course. But there's Micah we'll go with a teen was the source object right now. The teen basically just because it's not as small as a boy, not as tall as a man. We're going to be moving a lot of the stuff away anyway, or removing it, I guess, and so that's fine. So we got the Micah head kind of covering the teen's body, now with dots for the eyes, hemisphere for the mouth, a ghost arm, back for the little tail. Does anybody see what this is coming out to be? We got eyebrows for the crazy eyebrows. Of course, just type in eyebrow by itself, not eyebrows, because that'll make two. Hairy fish fin for the teeth. Yes, we are creating a little Boo version of me, Dr. Kendo. And the Gila monster tail piece again can be for two of the teeth in there as well. I wanted the other two teeth, though, with the hairy fish fin to be a little bit sharper and pointier and bigger, so that's why we did the hairy fish as opposed to just Gila monster tails all around. And so in the scripting tool, this is another script we can do. Of course, he'll become fearless so he doesn't run away from battles or anything like that, but we're also going to add the adjective ghostly. So after he loses or gains health, those adjectives are applied. Then we wait a set time. I'm doing 132 frames, and then to his self, of course, remove the adjective ghostly. So this way, he'll kind of do the little Boo thing where it turns transparent and ghostly like that. So look at all of our characters on screen. This is incredible. Look at them all. Our crazy Kendo creations. Of course, we do these Kendo crossovers every now and then. I used to kind of do them every month, but it's just been crazy ever since the baby was born, so I'm trying to adjust schedules and do as much of what you guys are asking for as possible. But I know that you guys wanted to see a Super Kendo Bros for quite a while, and so this is definitely a little bit later than I would have normally wanted to do it. But, you know, we did all these Mario creations, the regular real Mario creations in this series already, so it's like, it just was really good timing other than being later than I wanted. Does that make sense? Okay, anyway, so you can see the characters on screen that we're interacting with. Let's check out the Goomba. You can also ride him as well. I made it so that he can be sat upon. Basically, you just go into the equipment tab and make it so that basically you check off a box that says can be sat upon. And so this is another thing that's incredible. Look, we can ride the dog, Apple. This is so awesome. So there's Apple Yoshi, and we are riding like crazy. He goes so fast. And you can also, of course, you can do use animal, and that makes him attack like that. And so, otherwise, we'll go ahead and dismount right now. And let's get Tooie, the Bowser Tooie, all crazy agitated right here. Boom! He's gonna shoot a fireball at some other characters. And kabam! He hits a lot of them, actually. There's a lot of them taking damage now with that one fireball. Tooie Bowser's just going crazy. I guess you could call him Towser if you guys wanted to, but I don't know. Sometimes these names don't fuse as well as other names. And Boo is coming after me, the Kendo Boo, and the Goomba is down. The Goomba is down. I just have a little fly swatter in my hand so that I can attack people, but it won't do a lot of damage. So that's why I did the fly swatter. Okay, now Tooie, we just got him easily to attack the Boo so that they attack each other. So notice that Boo does. He becomes a little ghost like that, and of course I mean Kendo Boo, and he does become a little ghost every now and then, but then he unghosts. You could even set it, like if you were creating real Boo or whatever, you could create it to where the script basically is so that when he sees an object, he becomes ghostly, or moves close to an object. You know, you can do moves near another object and set the distance for that. So, if we ever create the quote-unquote real Boo from Super Mario Brothers, maybe we'll do that script. But look at everybody on screen. There's the nice little Kendo family as Mario characters. Now, there certainly are other characters in the Mario franchise. And you know something? Every single Kendo crossover that I've done, there are other characters that can still be done. I mean, we did 9 characters here, and if you count my avatar, that's like 10. This episode's already like 16 minutes, so you guys gotta understand. We can't just do every single last thing. We gotta leave something for part 2! So if you guys want to ever see this again, be like, yeah, create part 2 with this, and that, and we could do it. This series goes based on whatever is most popular, most requested each week by the most amount of different people. So whatever you guys are asking for in the comments, I look for whatever is most voted upon. So that means the most amount of people voting for it, it'll get created. And of course, much love to everybody. I'll catch you guys on the next vid. And thanks for viewing.
Down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives in the space